Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to this. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Back to Basics, where we take a practical and realistic look at all things off-road. In today's video, we're going to be covering an important topic for beginners in the community, and that's how to find events and pick groups to go out wheeling with. So in our last video, we talked about researching and picking off-road trails. This topic is going to overlap with that video, as picking a trail and finding a group to go wheeling with go hand in hand. So either before you watch this video or after, make sure to check out that one as well. Now there's a lot of you out there that are going to start with, hey Dustin, I don't need to find a group to go wheeling with because I go by myself. Well, that's great. There's actually nothing wrong with that. This video may not be for you, although I'll say that I found over the years wheeling with a great group of people can be just as fun as the wheeling itself. So stick around, maybe you'll learn a thing or two. Picking a group to go wheeling with is a very important part of getting started in the community for a few reasons. First, when you're a beginner, a solid group goes a long way towards teaching you the basics of this hobby. Airing down, equipment to carry, spotting, driving, and trail etiquette. Secondly, finding a group that works for you can make all the difference on how much you enjoy this hobby, because you'll find that there's a bunch of different styles of trail leaders out there, off-road groups, and getting the wrong kind can definitely make your off-road experience horrible. And lastly, I consider off-roading to be a social hobby. As much as I know there's people out there that like to do this alone or just with their family, I know there's even more of you that are like myself, and over the years of doing this have developed friendships that will last a lifetime. In this video, I hope to guide you guys through some of the things you want to keep in mind when picking a group to go out with. First thing we need to talk about is how to find out about group trail runs. This right here directly crosses over with our previous Back to Basics video, so I'll try not to double dip on content, but to keep it short, get involved. All over social media, you'll find different types of events, from parking lot meets, shop meets, rigs and coffees, trail runs, camping trips, and more official events like King of the Hammers. My best suggestion is to attend these events whenever you can. From there, you'll meet new people and learn what kinds of runs fit your needs. Now, a side note to all of this, people are always asking me, Dustin, how do I go out and join Dirtnation? It is actually very, very simple. Talk to anybody that is what you would consider Dirtnation or people that go out with us regularly. The key is show up. It's as simple as that, right? I post events, I post things on Instagram, I post them on Patreon. If you don't want to join Patreon, you don't want to pay money and do all that stuff, that's totally fine, right? There's people that just come to the Instagram social media events. That is the key right there. Get involved. The people that show up, they tend to stick around, and then that's how you join Dirtnation, right? There's no official way of joining us. And for a lot of groups, honestly, it's the same way, right? Get connected, get involved, show up. Next, we'll talk about the types of trail runs and a little bit of insights on the groups that host them. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, so I'm going to start by saying that nothing I say in this video is intended to be disparaging towards any off-road groups, whether they are social, companies, or clubs. I am trying to give you guys some honest and unbiased information to help you guys learn about this community. But I am also somebody that's been hosting runs for a long time, so I've learned what works and what doesn't work for me. Hell, I am still learning to this day about herding cats from the beginning of a trail to the end, while keeping everybody safe, happy, and entertained in the process. It's not an easy task, and I absolutely commend anybody out there doing this. So keeping all that in mind, let's dive in. Let's talk about some of the group runs that you will see out there. First up is going to be paid runs. These are going to be the big off-road runs that are typically hosted by off-road clubs, social groups, companies that specifically just host runs as their business. These you'll usually register online, you'll pick a trail you want to hit, you'll do some paperwork, sign waivers, all that, then you'll pay an entrance fee to join. Some good examples of these is Winter Jamboree, Jeep Jamboree, Eastern Jeep Safari, Sierra Trek, or various poker runs hosted all the time. These ones you typically get a consistent experience across the board. They are the safe option. You'll have a trail guide and some of his or her people helping them out. These groups tend to be more focused on punctuality and efficiency rather than like taking some extra time to check out obstacles or explore parts of the trails. The groups that do it right will get you in and get you out. They typically won't leave you behind. You know, they'll spot you, they'll help you, they'll, recover you if you have any issues, and generally you will finish at a decent time. On the other side of that, I've heard feedback on these runs that they come across as stale, or sometimes, I don't want to say boring, but just kind of disconnected. And that's due to the lack of social interaction. Like I said, the people hosting these runs are focused on keeping a schedule, right? Which isn't a bad thing, as not everybody wants to be out there wheeling all day. There's a lot of hurry up and wait with these runs, so it's less opportunities to get out and socialize and meet new people. It's entirely possible that you show up for one of these and not really exit your vehicle much. You get in, you run the trail, and then you go home. So keeping that in mind, registering and paying for these runs definitely is a solid option to get out there on the trail, especially if this is what you're looking for, right? If you're looking to just hit trails and you want to be in a safe space and, you know, just know that, hey, you're going to get out there, you're going to run the trail, and you're going to make it home. It's all good. These runs are providing a service, and if you're willing to pay for that service, then they are an option for you. I have done a few of these as a participant, and honestly, like, I had a lot of fun, but I also found it to be less fulfilling than what I'm normally used to. Now, speaking of what I'm normally used to, that's going to be more of the social media based runs, and that's going to be the next type that you'll see out there. These are the runs that you're going to see posted up on places like Instagram, you know, Facebook, sometimes TikTok, Twitter, whatever social media that you use. These are going to be posted by various off-road groups, YouTube pages, or even just like individuals or influencers looking to get out there and wheel. These runs do carry a bit more risk because they tend to be less organized than the runs that you pay for. Also, there's a lot of variables you got to consider that make for some interesting results. I'd say the key to all of it is the experience of the person or group hosting, because an inexperienced leader can make or break how the day goes. Getting lost, leaving people behind, or bad spotting can just lead to problems across the board. It can turn things into a big shit show, cause people unnecessary damage, cause people unnecessary hardship. These are the things you don't want to see on runs. Also take note on these runs, does the run limit the group size? Because I'll tell you from experience, you can post up a run and you can have 10 people show up, or you can have 100 people show up. Does this run have recommendations for builds? Or are they communicating beforehand about the trail conditions and the difficulty of the trail? Because the last thing that you want is a ton of people showing up for a trail, like let's say John Bull, and the rigs that are showing up are not prepared for how difficult the trail is. A couple of other things to consider. Is the group hosting a YouTube channel or a influencer personality? YouTubers tend to record footage, so they're going to take frequent breaks to record some stuff. You know, maybe they want to get some drone shots, maybe they want to record people at obstacles. This is like real life stuff. This is things that you're going to see on these runs. You'll see them on my runs sometimes. As a YouTuber myself, I've learned that there's a lot of people that don't like dealing with these types of runs, and over the years I've learned to kind of record things as they happen and select opportunities to stop and record footage so that we can have a good balance of, hey, we want content, right? Because we want to entertain and educate the community and do all the things that we do, but we also want to be efficient and not have a lot of hurry up and wait and, you know, make for just long, miserable days on the trail. As I mentioned, I think it takes an effective trail guide with patience and the ability to communicate with a group to just make sure things go smoothly and everybody has a good time. So if you find yourself looking at joining one of these random runs you find on social media, do a little bit of research, right? Ask questions, look at previous runs, look at comments on previous runs. You know, talk to people that you see get posted up, or maybe they, you know, if somebody just went to a Dirtnation run and you might know them, hey, talk to them. Like, hey, how did it go, right? Did things go smoothly? Were we stuck at one obstacle all day? Was the trail leader late 2 hours, right? Ask those questions so that at the very least, right, if you end up going on a trail run, you're not completely surprised by the results, because there's so many variables to all this that things can go one way, they can go another way, and that's kind of the negative of the social media trail runs, is the how's it going to go factor, right? It's not a for sure thing. Now, all of that can be looked at as negatives of social media based runs. Let's talk about some positives. Speaking for me personally and my experience hosting Dirtnation runs for the past few years, I'll say running a YouTube channel and an off-road group while trying to manage all of the things that everybody has to deal with, right? Working full-time jobs, being a dad, a partner, and a responsible man who takes care of himself, his family, and his business is hard. It takes a toll on you. I mention all this because hosting runs, or Dirtnation takeovers as we call them, is what it's all about for me. Being able to bring something like this to the community makes every single solitary late night, every long day, every dollar spent, every credit card max, it makes it all worth it. At this point, I've probably hosted, I want to say, between 30 and 40 Dirt Nation takeovers. And not every single one of them has gone smoothly. Not every run has been like the most epic day ever of off-roading. But if you've been to one, you understand. The vibes, the banter, the good times, the way I see people hyped and happy when they leave, there is nothing else like it. Over the years, I've met so many people and shared so many good times with people that it will always be worth it to bust my ass for this brand. Now, as much as I sit here and beat my chest and say how nobody does it like us and the Dirt Nation takeover is amazing, and it is, I recognize that there is a lot of groups out there and people that host runs, and for them, that's also what it's all about, right? For me, this is what it's about, the community, right? Getting together, having fun, being safe, and doing things the right way is what it's all about. Get out there with a great group of people and create memories. Anyways, I say all that to say this. I think social media based runs is where it's at. I absolutely love it. I know it's not for everybody. I know that things will turn into a shit show sometimes, and I'm somebody that's always willing to deal with it because this is what I enjoy doing. As for you guys out there, I think it is a terrific option for you to go out there and at least try. Understand the risks, understand things might not go well, but also understand that things might go amazing to where you get hooked on the takeover or whatever type of run it might be. Just understand that these can be amazing, they can be great, and this is what it's all about. Another type of group run to keep an eye out for is going to be the big events that happen throughout the year. Good examples are going to be like King of the Hammers or Tierra del Sol. Those two just passed for this year, and then there's a bunch more happening through the rest of the year. These are the events where large groups congregate to popular off-road areas and shenanigans ensue. Events like these tend to draw big crowds, so it is a good opportunity to get out there, just meet some new people, or at the very least, see some off-road action. As I mentioned, King of the Hammers, you could go to Backdoor or Chocolate Thunder after dark, and you will be treated to some epic off-road action. In a lot of ways, it's like an off-road entertainment event. Now, just remember, with big crowds comes big problems. There's a good chance people are gonna act dumb, and it's common to see reckless behavior or reckless driving or even fights break out. It's entertaining, but it's definitely not for everybody, and in a lot of ways, this is where you will see some of the things that we don't want in the community, right? You don't want to see reckless driving. Yeah, you want to see spirited driving. That's always good. But reckless driving, dangerous driving, people fighting, people getting overly drunk and stupid or high or whatever it might be, we don't like that. We don't want to see that in the community, and it should definitely be condemned. Another example is going to be holiday weekends in those popular spots, right? Johnson Valley, Ocotillo Wells, Glamis, Dumont, Moab, Sand Hollow, right? These are all the places that are common for Southern California wheelers. These are great areas and good times to head out and meet new people, get out there with off-road groups, and kind of see what the hobby is about. I personally love these types of events. I head out to them frequently. I understand it's not for everybody. You know, not everybody wants to go wheeling with big crowds. Not everybody wants to deal with the pressure of just hanging out with a bunch of people around or hitting obstacles with a bunch of people around. Like, crowds get rowdy, you know, peer pressure's a bitch. I understand that. So it's not going to be for everybody. Now, the last thing that I'll mention, because we talked about like different types of trail runs and everything, none of this is really set in stone. You have to get out there and see what works for you, because what I'm talking about in this video is just a guideline. It's just a guideline based on personal experience. Granted, it's a lot of experience, and I've seen a lot of things, and I've dealt with a lot of things. So that's why we're here talking in this video. But you guys do need to get out there and learn for yourself. So go on some paid runs, go on some social media runs, go out to those big events and see what works for you, because your experience may be different than mine. Right? You might go out to some paid runs and you don't find it to be boring or disconnected. You find it to be very fulfilling, and you find it to be exactly what you're looking for. Or you might go out to social media based runs and you like yourselves a good shit show. You like getting out there and, you know, and a little bit into the chaos, right? Or, hey, sometimes the paid runs turn into chaos. Sometimes the social media runs are boring because the group doesn't know how to host, or maybe the trail sucks, or whatever it might be. Just understand, none of this is set in stone. You got to get out there and figure it out for yourselves, right? The key is get involved. I said that in the beginning of this video, and I will continue to say it. Learning for yourselves and getting involved is going to go a long way towards learning this hobby and enjoying this hobby. More than anything, I encourage you guys to get out there, on the trails and create memories. Whether that's with a small group of friends, just your family, by yourselves, or with a large group or a social media group or whatever it might be. Get out there and create memories. Well, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned something useful. Let's end today's video with a question for our veteran off-roaders out there. What are the things you look for in an off-road group? And a secondary question, what is your favorite off-road event to attend? Stay tuned, as next time on Back to Basics, we are going to break out of this box, right? We're going to get out of this room and we're going to get out there on the trails, applying all the information that I've taught you guys up until this point. We're going to go hit a trail and we're going to show you guys some of the basics and beginner tips towards hitting an off-road trail. I'm looking forward to it. If you guys want to support the things we're doing here at Dirtnation Offroad, I encourage you to check out two things. First thing is going to be our merch store, where we have all of our great merch options. We got hoodies, we got hats, we got shirts, we got all that fun stuff. And then you guys can check out Patreon, where you get exclusive access to all things Dirtnation Offroad, extra runs, extra content, extras. All good stuff. Thank you guys so much. We will see you again next time.